In the 1960s, it was clear that many of America's enemies were external. However, the ethics of the United States campaign in Vietnam were being questioned, especially by college students. On May 4, 1970, 4 of them were killed by the Ohio National Guard at Kent State University, and 9 others were wounded. About 6.5 years prior, President Kennedy had been assassinated in Dallas, Texas, on November 22, 1963. These political killings happened during U.S. combat operations in Vietnam, commonly known as the Vietnam War. As if these events weren't enough, the war for civil rights was being fought on American soil during this time. 100 years prior, a related war, the American Civil War, had also happened internally. It is worth emphasizing that the Civil War involved Americans fighting against Americans. Though Reconstruction took place and the Confederacy surrendered, the Civil War never really ended, as evidenced by events such as the Tulsa Race Massacre. This attack on African Americans and their homes and businesses happened on May 31st to June 1st in 1921. It covered a 40-square block area in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Greenwood District. 800 people were injured, 36 confirmed dead, and updated estimates put the death toll at 75 to 300 total. Many people's lives were destroyed, and now we are seeing people like presidential candidate Ron DeSantis attempting to whitewash or completely erase important historical events such as this from our minds. What are his intentions in doing this? He is not alone either. In states like California, private homeschools are enabled to teach practically anything they want, and this includes not teaching whatever they deem inappropriate, such as this Tulsa, Oklahoma attack. It is essential, however, that we remember and pay close attention to what is happening and what has happened, lest we wind up deceiving ourselves into a false reality. False realities are extremely dangerous and lead to more injuries and killings, like the kind we have seen on January 6, 2021. It's interesting that J6 happened 100 years after the Tulsa incident, which became known as the destruction of Black Wall Street. I think it is really interesting to note that the man who finally opened fire on the J6 mob is African American. So basically, he was the final line of defense in the protection of lawmakers of a government that had failed to support and protect his presumed ancestors, even all the way up to the times of the Kent State Massacre. Without Lieutenant Michael Boyd's involvement, more people could have been hurt or killed, and Vice President Mike Pence might not have been able to certify the results of the presidential election. Although it is tragic that Ashley Babbitt had to be at the receiving end of the force required to stop the violent mob, we can at least say that she is not a weaker vessel, a term applied by the Bible to all women. How sickening is that? Who gave an open invitation to Ashley and others like her to come to the Capitol and then asked everyone to fight like hell? A post from Donald J. Trump. Peter Navarro releases 36-page report alleging election fraud, more than sufficient to swing victory to Trump. A great report by Peter. Statistically impossible to have lost the 2020 election. Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there. Will be wild. If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Here's another guy who said to fight like hell. Fight like hell or you won't have a paradise anymore. The more these strong men keep talking, the worse it gets. People will continue to die, and we will be back in another full-scale civil war. Only this time, the weapons will be more powerful and the casualties will be much higher. Perhaps there won't be any more America to make great again. When you see 900 victims of cult mind control all sprawled out on the ground, it's not great, and continued use of indoctrination and cult mind control is never great. Is this how we improve America? There's a lot of good people on both sides. A lot of them.